This video is brought to you by Keeps. Stick around to hear more about the discount that they're providing to the entire upper echelon community. Okay, today is going to be about big tech, but primarily YouTube and Twitch. Now, the topics I'll discuss are not breaking news. They were breaking news a few days ago, but with a scientifically proven connection between technology and internal human chronological pacemakers, a few days feels like a few weeks, and a few weeks feels like a year. People lose interest fast. Yesterday's news is not just 24 hours old, it's a distant memory, and this can be useful when we consider how our minds process information quickly nowadays, but it's a horrifying problem when we understand that technology companies, and their policies especially, do not actually change or fade away just because they disappear from public, widespread consciousness. Well, today I want to look at two primary instances where technology companies such as YouTube and Twitch, again primarily, have modified their policies in a damaging way under the guise of inclusivity, protection, and fairness. To explain this fully, we have to start with YouTube and then take a detour through something I covered about a year ago, I believe. YouTube recently announced that it will demo the function of removing visible dislikes from the public-facing video page on its platform. This is a small-scale testing phase, primarily. It is not a widespread policy standard as of yet, but the goal is to cut down on harassment. On its face, that's not a bad goal. If we take that for what it is and award them the most charitable interpretation possible, the idea of protecting creators from being brigaded by malicious dislikes is understandable, but to really explain why this policy is a train engine headed off a cliff, or actually it's already over the cliff, it's time for that detour. But before that, are you aware that 2 out of 3 men experience hair loss before the age of 35? Are you also aware that most people who watch this channel are men ages 18 to 45? Well, combine those two factors and we arrive at Keeps. Keeps is a hair loss prevention treatment with more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors. You can order and get treated directly from your home for a fraction of the cost when compared to other products, and they offer generic versions of the only 2 FDA-approved hair loss treatments on the entire market. For a limited time, using the link down below, you can get 50% off your first order. Again, that's 50% off your first order if you click the link down below in the description. Keeps can help prevent, even reverse the process of hair loss. And combining that with an audience who, sorry guys, is right in the middle of what is the most susceptible demographic when it comes to hair loss in general, it's an ongoing partnership that just makes sense. Big thank you to Keeps for sponsoring the channel. Okay, back to the video. About a year ago, I covered a story in which a friend of mine had his channel hacked. The YouTuber is named MarcoStyle, and he makes great content. I'll have a link down below in the description. He has since regained his channel after the ordeal, thankfully, but at that time, about a year ago, he clicked a link in an email and his channel got hijacked. The hacker moved very quickly. It started with his entire video library getting deleted, moved on to changing the name and branding of the channel, and eventually a live stream showed up with a cryptocurrency scam, which would play for thousands of viewers on a 2-hour loop, and it took quite some time before it was taken down. And it would encourage them to send batches of the Ripple token, XRP, to a particular address, which would then send double that amount back, allegedly. As a side note here, it's a scam as old as any of us. I remember the OG RuneScape days when someone would camp out next to the Grand Exchange and say, free doubling service, and maybe he would even give out some free gold to a couple of people in the beginning for small amounts, but as soon as someone forked over a large amount of gold, somehow, naively thinking that it would be doubled and then returned to them, the scammer would just log off and disappear into the server list, only to do it over and over and over again. Well, cryptocurrency offered, and still does, a whole new world for that kind of scam, and MarcoStyle wasn't the only channel to be hacked. In total, there were dozens of channels that were hijacked, with a combined millions in subscribers, and the livestream scams were getting thousands of viewers each oftentimes, and tens of thousands of dollars in payments directly to the address listed. Basically, the scam was working, and it was working quite well. Here's the thing, and I'm getting to the point, I promise. When a scam or even a bad video is posted to YouTube or a live stream, whatever it may be, there are a multitude of ways that the audience can offer feedback. One is comments, obviously, another is the chat room for live streams, and another is the like-dislike bar. Now, when someone knows that they are posting something malicious, manipulative, or outright illegal in this case, they can disable those feedback mechanisms, but that in and of itself serves as a sort of indication of the content's credibility. I have never seen, myself, not once, quality, truthful, or deserving content that disabled all of these feedback portals, because anything well-made, truthful, or deserving would get perfectly fine feedback. Well, imagine now that in the well-documented case of widespread crypto scamming, which did occur, that the hackers were able to post their live stream with no public chat room, but allowed the like-dislike bar to be seen, as well as the comments. And both of those mechanisms, somehow, only showed positive results which bolster the credibility of their scam. Seems awful, right? Yes, absolutely, but it's also entirely possible if YouTube actually pushed ahead with this change. The reason is pretty simple. YouTube already offers creators a multitude of ways to moderate their comment section. We can delete specific comments, we can shadow ban users, we can put in blocked keywords like scam or fraud, and a host of other avenues to clamp down on what is said specifically in the comment section. Hell, even the auto filter that we have already does that to a significant degree without the creator ever even knowing about it. However, despite our ability to totally lock down the written comment section, we are not able to influence the like-dislike bar short of hiding it completely, which again acts as a sort of unspoken "I'm embarrassed about this and it's bad" type decision. Well, now imagine that a scam video could be put up on a hacked channel where the hacker heavily moderates the comment section so that you only see positive things, and also the like-dislike numbers are hidden. They can buy some fake likes, even some fake comments, which will make the numbers proportional to overall viewership. They could do this anyway, but it would be extremely hard to overcome that dislike ratio and that bar if it was bad content or blatantly a scam. The comment section would seem clean. The likes are high, you can't even see the dislikes, and their scam seems a lot less like a scam. How about a different example here? There is a very large, popular subsection of the YouTube ecosystem called DIY, or do it yourself. These videos cover educational material from Photoshop tutorials to arts and crafts, and for a very clear example, we can look at The Verge and their PC build video from 2018. This was a bad video. It's since been hidden from their channel outright and no longer shows up in the article it was originally paired with, but it contained straight up faulty advice, and these were not the proper steps for building a PC at all. I'm not an expert even. I didn't even build my own PC. Another YouTuber named AxialGT did, and I'll link his channel down below as well, but even I knew some of these steps were just flat out wrong. Well, the video got ratioed into the dirt, and people knew when visiting the page immediately that this was a bad guide. Vox even used lawyers to briefly silence other YouTubers who criticized it at the time because it was that bad and the backlash that severe. Well, who do you think YouTube will apply this kind of policy to first as a demo or expand it to in their first round? Who do you think YouTube would cater to when allowing for the dislikes to be hidden? Large creators and media companies? Yes, of course. With that in mind, let's play this out as if the feature was enabled at the time. The Verge posts their video to the platform, the dislikes are hidden, there are enough likes where it doesn't look hilarious in the view to like metrics, because at that time they were a massive player in the gaming space before a drastic decline in credibility through 2019 and 2020. They moderate the hell out of their comment section, and someone visiting the page thinks, initially, first impression, nothing really looks off. I guess I can follow this advice for a PC build. Imagine the ramifications for this type of decision if we realize that it can and will be used by the worst among us to hide faulty content and malicious behavior. Imagine when it can be applied to industries, and it will, like health and fitness, DIY, education, and more. Imagine what the landscape, or hacked channels, by the way, that just upload scams, and they can make those scams look credible. Imagine what the landscape will look like when the ability to post flat-out lies and or scams can be obfuscated and disguised as something legitimate with very, very little effort. And there is literally no public-facing avenue for viewers to communicate that to each other on first impression when visiting the page or the video. Going even further, YouTube has expressed that they will make the dislike metrics available for the YouTuber in their studio panel, but that is arguably one of the least important places for it to be when the true value is on a peer-to-peer viewership level. Overall, this is a ridiculous policy that might seem like it will deter harassment and brigaded dislike campaigns, which happen from time to time but are not at all the most immediate problem the platform faces, but will more so than anything else, clearly, enable bad, even malicious content to infect the ecosystem easier and quicker than ever before. That's already bad, but it came mere days removed from Twitch issuing their own policy update, which pertains to off-platform behavior. Now, this isn't the first time that Twitch has expanded into the realm of moderating user off-platform behavior, and it certainly, definitely, won't be the last. Previously, they created hateful conduct guidelines, and some of these, well, see for yourself. Quote, speech, imagery, or emote combinations that dehumanize or perpetuate negative stereotypes and or memes, end quote. Extremely broad. How about, quote, additionally, content that expresses inferiority based on a protected characteristic, including but not limited to statements related to physical, mental, and moral deficiencies, end quote. A moral deficiency would be someone who lacks moral character or fiber. It would be someone primarily who behaves in such a way that there might be no technical or legal recourse in that case, but there is a moral and or ethical objection to what they are doing or saying. Think of maps on Twitter or minor attracted person. They know what they are, you know what they are, but they populate and infest social media in a way that allows them to continue despite a clear moral deficiency. Well, that is now, and would appear to be, among many other things, a protected characteristic, so your statements towards them might be filtered through the lens of Twitch and their inclusivity. But that's not where it stops. Most recently, Twitch has applied an off-platform policy where they will investigate serious violations, and at face value, a lot of these bullet points are good, but when you realize just how vague their definitions truly are, it becomes clear that they can ban someone for practically anything. I'm of the opinion that this is impossible to operate at scale anyways, so it might end up fading into the background, but the basic fundamental premise is there. Twitch will have a legal team investigate what streamers do far beyond the scope of what they do or say on Twitch itself, and this is, at its core, an extension of their policies from January. Keep in mind, this is the platform that made it directly against their code of conduct to say that certain female streamers receive preferential treatment as a result of sexual interest, while simultaneously having to remove one of their highest profile public-facing staff members for giving preferential treatment and harassing female streamers as a function of sexual interest. Yeah, that platform. I'm not saying that Twitch can't moderate their platform. I'm not saying that they shouldn't take serious and immediate action against particular offenses. Certainly against crimes, absolutely. And the straw man that gets constructed here is that people like me just want to be able to harass others, which is an intellectual wasteland populated by the worst among us. But what is true is that when platforms begin to expand into a legal capacity where they investigate the rest of your life for reports made against you in their small individual purview on their platform, well, that's dangerous territory. Like I said, it probably can't even operate at scale, and that's not even considering the fact that it will likely be applied to viewers, not just streamers, but when a 10-viewer affiliate is reported, it will most likely get ignored versus a 2,000-view partner, something like that. But if they really go down this road, investigating with competency, which is a big ask, but if it's there, all of the reports that come in for their current, it will expand, it always does, without fail, always, their current list of reasons, they will inevitably find TOS violations for many that break their code of conduct in ways that are not a serious infraction, such as what started the investigation, but would necessitate a suspension or a ban as a result. What do we honestly think they will do? Will they ignore the minor TOS infraction uncovered by their legal team investigating as they dig into your entire life? Or will they act on it because they have methodically established guidelines aimed at allowing them to investigate and punish you for Discord messages, Twitter posts, YouTube videos, Facebook messages or posts, and everything else under the sun, while expanding their conduct enforcement from a realistic scope, which it kind of used to be, to something altogether unrealistic? This is where probably an ideological divide forms. Some people think it is always okay to invade privacy or enforce off-platform conduct policy in order to protect the community, because they perceive that protection to be something that will hurt the people they disagree with or dislike and will protect them as a result. That's not how these things go. They are either too naive or too stupid, most likely, to see that when a systematic expansion of how far a tech company will go with regards to off-platform behavior occurs, it isn't just going to stop at some mythical or magical line that you think indicates utopian platform happiness. It will keep growing. Inevitably, it always does. It will keep expanding, and it will affect the people who smirk and laugh right now at those who are affected immediately. Within days, YouTube announced a policy change which will verifiably make it easier to scam and mislead on their platform. And Twitch announced a policy expansion to investigate off-platform behavior in a way that goes far beyond the scope of anything previously allowed. On the one hand, you can look at these new guidelines with rose-tinted glasses, failing or outright refusing, more likely, to see the negative downsides. But with a realistic and pragmatic evaluation, these policy changes are not so pristine. In fact, it's highly likely that they will have longer-term, downstream negative ramifications for many users on the platforms. They just don't know it yet. Like a passenger 60 cars back on a train where the engine already went over the edge. That's it. If you want support, please consider watching on Odyssey. It's a YouTube platform alternative that supports creators very well, and my entire content library is uploaded there in addition to YouTube. It's linked down below in the description. Also, Locals, $5 a month, and you can watch the videos completely ad-free or listen in audio podcast form. There's another YouTuber to check out. Merch, Keeps, especially, social media, etc., but I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, and have a nice night.